Okay, so the first thing I do is go in with some pink concealer for the inner corners of my eyes because I have dark circles and stuff. And then I go in with some mineral primer on the spots on my skin that just tend to stay rough. Then I just go in with some green concealer over any red spots that I have because I am so pale, they're really prominent. And as soon as I'm done covering all the redness on my face, it's foundation time. I'm using Flower Cosmetics in a mix of LF2 and LF1. Generally it's a 1-to-1 ratio and I mix it in a little container. I generally use a buffing brush to apply most of my foundation and to even it out. I don't use a beauty blender anymore. For my cheeks, I use a contouring cheek brush for my contour, and I'm using Sketch by MAC, and just kind of like buffing that into underneath of the hollows of my cheeks and kind of taking the edge off of the back of my jaw. And I take a fluffy shadow brush to contour my nose. Now I'm going to go in with my Ben Nye loose powder in pure white and put that on the highlights of my face and let that start to bake. And setting the rest of my face with my Airspun loose powder in translucent, and then just letting that sit for a few minutes. Now I'm just going in and brushing off the excess powder with a powder brush. Most of these brushes that I've used thus far are from FM brushes, and I'm taking another cheek brush with Diamond Eyes by Sugarpill and using that as a highlight on the tops of my cheeks and using a fluffy shadow brush to put that in the corners of my eyes and on my nose and also on my Cupid's bow. Now I'm going to use a NYX Jumbo Pencil in white to be the base for my shadow on my lids. I just apply it all over the lid and then use my finger to feather it out and even it out and stuff like that. I also apply it heavily in the corners of my eyes near the tear duct. I've been using the Neutral Matte Palette by Too Faced for a lot of my looks lately, and I started off with Day Heaven for my eyelids in this section right here, just right on top of the NYX in Milk. And right here I'm using a small fluffy brush, like a really tiny fluffy brush, and the shade Risque from the same palette to map out my crease line. I'm then going to go in with a little bit of Nudie and Cashmere Bunny and kind of blend that upwards up into the brow area. I also went in with a shimmery maroony brown over top of Risque and kind of just blending it in. I continuously just add that shade in and blend with Cashmere Bunny to make this darker and just continue to give it depth. Occasionally I'll add some more Risque in there as well. I then go over the line just to clean it up again with Heaven and to redefine the white parts of my eyelids. Now it's time for brows, and I'm using a CoverGirl blue pencil with a smudger on the back of it, and I'm just hand drawing my brows in and then smudging the inner corners to give it that gradient effect. I then go in with a small fluffy brush with a white to kind of give it that gradient effect, and then I go over top of the entire brow with Chaos from the Urban Decay Electric palette on an angled brush. And just to clean it up, I use a concealer brush and just go along the edges just to make sure everything's nice and neat with the lines of my brows. And then highlighting under my brow with Heaven again. Here I'm going in under my eyelid with Risque in the corners and then kind of blending it out with Cashmere Bunny and then just going back and forth between Risque and Cashmere Bunny, and sometimes just kind of popping in that maroony color again underneath of there just to like smoke out the bottom lid. I also go in with a fluffy blending brush and just blend it all out and added a tiny bit of black on the inner corners underneath just to make it so I didn't have to put eyeliner there later on. Here I'm adding a really soft goldy color to the outer corners of my eye. I'm blending them in with Heaven just to add some more depth to my eyelids. I'm also going to use the Maybelline gel eyeliner on a really thin eyeliner brush and go in and put on my eyeliner, and it has a slight wing. Curling my lashes and then adding mascara. camera, I took like 20 minutes trying to figure out what lashes I was going to wear, and I wound up just going with the Morphe Wisps again and putting those on, and now I am applying Trap by ColourPop Cosmetics to my lips. I add the tiniest amount of concealer to the very middle of my lip and just tap it out to blend it. I was trying to ombre out my lips and wound up doing a whole bunch of weird shit. And what I wound up with the finished product doing was using eyeshadow to make the corners darker and adding Heaven to the center of my lip with Trap as the base.
Guys, so this was my go-to makeup lately, at least. I always kind of go towards cut faces because they make my eyes look bigger. For me, they're just a lot easier. But yeah, this is just what I've been doing lately, especially since for Christmas I got that Tarte palette thing. My lipstick changes day to day though. I just kind of decided to use Trap today. And then play with some eyeshadows on the lips. But yeah, I always wear liquid lipstick. And my eyebrows change from as well, but that's how I draw them on, is by hand every day with those products. I always or at least for the past year, I've been doing a gradient brow in the middle for some reason. But yeah. And like I said though, my makeup habits change day to day. This is just what I've been